Hi, I'm Wendela Whitcomb Marsh. I'm one of the authors with Future Horizons Publishing. They've asked me to talk to you a little bit about some of the books I've written, and I love writing books with them, so I'm happy to do that. I'll start with the first book that I wrote for them back when I first retired in 2016. It's called The ABCs of Autism in the Classroom. I had been a teacher for 20 years in my early career, a special ed teacher, and later I became a school psychologist and a behavior analyst. And the many things that I learned, I wrote in this book as sort of a letter to my younger self, some tips on what might have been done differently. Now, in this book, and in all of the books that I've written myself without a co-author, there are some things that all these books will have in common. One is they will all have fictional characters. For every chapter with whatever issue or topic or strategy, each of the fictional characters that I've created for that book will demonstrate through little stories how they met that challenge or how it was different for them and how they overcame it. Also, at the end of every chapter, you'll find something written by actually autistic people who have lived this experience. I'm not autistic myself, although my late husband and two of our 3 adult children are all late diagnosed autistic, but I'm not. So I want to bring in these voices of actually autistic people who have lived this and walked this path. I think that's really important. The next book that I wrote was called Independent Living with Autism, Your Roadmap to Success. And this one, I've just turned in the rewrite for it, the revision. We've updated it, and I'll tell you more about that later. But this one also has several fictional characters who demonstrate by their little stories and anecdotes how they manage the different things like time management, getting a job, moving out on your own, all the things that adults have to deal with from the perspective of someone who's autistic. What might their unique challenges be? Then Future Horizons asked me to collaborate with Dr. Ron Melmed on the Autism Parent Handbook that we wrote together, start with the end goal in mind. And this is for parents of all ages. It's a good thing. If you know someone whose child has just been diagnosed with autism, that's a great resource for them. Now, about that time, the pandemic hit, and Future Horizons brought together all of their authors to come together and put together a book called Autism in Lockdown. Each of us wrote a chapter for this book. Mine was about homeschooling your child with autism, because suddenly parents around the world whose children might have been in specific autism sort of programs in their schools were at home, and the parents were great parents, but they were not teachers. So I wanted to give them a little encouragement. Soon after that, my daughter, Siobhan Marsh, who is also a writer herself, she encouraged me to write a book on the topic, and when she agreed to work together with me, we co-wrote Homeschooling Autism Style, Reset for Success. And this gives some advice and also activities and things that now parents could use on weekends or vacations if they want some structure. Even if your child is in school every day and you don't have to homeschool, you still might want some activities and structure and fun ideas for things to do with your autistic child at home. Now, the next book I wrote is one that really has a place in my heart. It's called Recognizing Autism in Women and Girls. So many women have been masking without even realizing they have been their whole life. Girls seem to be better at boys at observing and imitating other people and trying to figure out how to pretend to be normal. And because the schools are expecting autistic kids to be boys, they don't get recognized in school, and they don't get their needs met often, not always. But there are many women out there who are not recognized, and they struggle with their autism while trying to make it without the supports that their male counterparts might have. This one also has, as all of the ones I do on my own, some fictional women who I really like, and I enjoyed creating their stories. For each one, they had something else that everyone thought, oh, that's it. maybe that's it, it's OCD, or she's just shy, or she has ADHD. Whatever it was, people decided that, well, it never occurred to them that they might be autistic. And for each of them, they were adults before they discovered that, in fact, they'd been autistic all along. There are also tips throughout this book for clinicians, doctors, therapists. If your patient or client comes to you and says, I think I'm autistic, instead of brushing them off and saying, oh, you can't be autistic, you made eye contact, or you can't be autistic, you have a job and a family. Because autistic women do train themselves to make eye contact, even if it's uncomfortable, and they do get married and have children and jobs. But it's so much harder for them if they don't get the accommodation and recognition that they really need in order to keep going and not burn out, as so many of them do. Then the next one is called Dating While Autistic, and it's actually book 2 in the Adulting While Autistic series. Now, if you remember, I showed you this one, Independent Living with Autism. I just turned in the rewrite, and now it is called Independent Living While Autistic, book 1 in the Adulting While Autistic series. I've updated it and added a new character, and so that will be book 1. And Dating While Autistic is book 2. A lot of autistic adults struggle with dating. They have trouble interpreting, is somebody just being friendly, or are they trying to flirt with me? They may never recognize if someone is flirting with them because they just aren't thinking about that, and they don't know those signs. It's easy for there to be misunderstandings if you're autistic, but this book helps with the process of dating and some strategies and tips, along with a couple of fictional characters who by the end of the book, they meet each other and fall in love, which made me so happy. Although I know my daughter Siobhan said, you wrote it that way. And of course I did, but I'm still happy when it happens. After Dating While Autistic, book 2 in the Adulting While Autistic series is Relating While Autistic, Fixing Mixed Signals. Fixed signals for neurodivergent couples. I was part of a neurodivergent couple for more than a quarter of a century. My late husband was autistic. We didn't know that when we got married. We just fell in love, like you do. But I learned, not just through my research and my career, but in my own personal life, what some of the things are that can help to fix those mixed signals that sometimes come up when there is a mixed marriage between a neurodivergent person who might be autistic or have ADHD and someone in the neuromajority like me. The important thing about mixed couples is it's never the responsibility of only one partner to change or to make allowances. It's always a two-way street. So if you have someone who says, well, my spouse is autistic, so now I have to change everything because he can't help being autistic, so the burden is on me to make all the accommodations. Or an autistic person saying, well, I'm autistic, so I have to change everything to try to be more normal or typical in order to make the marriage work. And neither one of those is true. It is a partnership, and both sides make changes and kind of move back and forth in a cooperative dance, like any marriage. But there might just be a few more challenges when it's a mixed marriage. And finally, not finally, but next in the Adulting While Autistic series is Parenting While Autistic. People think, oh, autistic people can't be parents, but that's not true. There are lots of autistic parents, and my late husband was one of them, and I've worked with many people who are autistic parents. That doesn't mean it's not challenging. It is. Parenting is always hard, but we can do hard things. We've been doing hard things all along. So this was written to encourage people who are autistic and want to be parents to kind of know what pitfalls might fall along the way and what strategies they can use to get through, what kind of help they might need that will give them their best parenting experience. Now, I haven't written it yet, but I've just signed a contract for the 5th book in the Adulting While Autistic series, and that's Working While Autistic. Getting and keeping a job is difficult for many autistic people, and I'm looking forward to writing a book that I hope will be helpful in that area. Well, I've really loved writing these books and working with Future Horizons, so I hope that someone who's listening to this might find something that could be useful to you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye now.